Okay, turn this down just a hair. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to work on do a workflow via SOA and JDeveloper. What we're going to do in the first video is actually create the composite, deploy it to the SOA server, register it to OIM, and enable it in the OIM system, basically wiring it all up. The second video will actually go into OIM and wire up the approval process so that when a user requests a resource, the request approval will go to the manager. So, but that won't happen until video number 2. Today we're just going to set up the composite. Okay, so I'm on the VM here. I got OIM running. Okay, so we don't necessarily need it running to do until we actually get ready to deploy it, and even then we need to have the SOA running. When we enable it in OIM or register it in OIM, we'll need OIM running. So the first thing we need to do, you see I've already set these up ahead of time. So we're going to go here, then we need to go here and here, and we're going to set up our WebLogic environment. We need to do that. Then we're going to CD to OIM home, and then there's server, whoops, workflows. Okay, now these zip files are the workflows that come with Oracle Identity Manager. Regardless of what they might say, they don't actually do that, and I'll show you why they don't here in a minute. But these other folders here, so when you use like the new workflow here to create one. Okay, the process template is just that. There's a template approval app that comes with OIM, and then there's this XML file which you run via Ant that will basically generate a new SOA composite for you. And best I can tell, it'll be exactly like one of the ones that come with it. You know, I don't know why they didn't just go ahead and wire these up, you know, so that you would actually get a manager approval out of the box, but they didn't. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to create a new one. We're not going to touch any of their other ones. So we're going to create a new one, and then we're going to pull that up in the JDeveloper and make the change that you need to make so that it will do the manager approval. Okay, so let's do that. So we would do Ant. It's very important that you run the set environment before you try and do this. Okay, so this will start up some questions. Okay, the application name, we're going to call it AI Beneficiary Manager Approval App. Beneficiary Manager Approval App. Okay, project name is going to be Beneficiary Manager Approval, and the service name is going to be Beneficiary Manager Approval Service. Okay, so that was it. It generated for us. If you go into the process template now, you should see our app here. Okay, this is the one that it created for us. This is the first time you do it, it's going to unzip this template, this approval template, into here, and then it's going to run. And it's probably going to, make some global changes to what's in there, and basically create a new copy of it and call it whatever you said you wanted it to be. So now what we're going to do that'll just make things a little bit easier, you'll see. So we're going to go back here, we're going to CD, and this is our JDeveloper. This is where our workspace would be. This isn't where JDeveloper is installed, but it's where JDeveloper is going to look for its projects. So what we're going to do, okay, so basically what that did was create our own directory for it. I didn't want to use CP because I'm not sure if there's any dot files in there or anything, hidden files that won't get copied. So that's just the safest way to do it. All right, now if we go in here, we'll see we have this. Okay, this is the JDeveloper application file, so we'll have to open that, and then JDeveloper will know what all that other stuff is. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so JDeveloper is basically a match. See, that version is 11.1130. When you install JDeveloper for Identity Manager, it's got to be the same as all the other stuff. So like, you know, OIM is 11.113, SOA is 11.113. So we need to have JDeveloper also be 11.113, and then you have to go rooting around at Oracle's website to find the SOA composite plugin that you need to put in there. And of course, it's, you know, every different possible version of JDeveloper and the SOA composite that you would need. You know, of course, they have to jive also, or it won't install properly. So the JDeveloper that I'm now putting on the starter VMs is already wired up with the SOA composite builder. So I haven't really, there's a book that someone did, I think it's over at the Safari Books, on, you know, how to really use this thing to make it do useful stuff as opposed to just creating these OIM approval processes. It's about $70. I'm probably going to pick it up in a few weeks. So, but right now, doing it this way isn't really that difficult. It's pretty easy actually to make this quick change so it supports a manager approval. Okay, close that. Minimize that. Okay, so here's our project. Okay, here's the SOA content. Okay, now remember, this was all built by the OIM template, you know, builder. Okay, so the main players here are this, and you'll see when it comes up, it has its own design, you know, GUI designer thingy that will let you, you know, drag and drop participants and processes, and, you know, you can, like, the approval task is here, you know, and all the attributes for the approval task are in here. So if you were to pull this up, you could look at all the variables that are assigned. Now, in order to play with OIM, if you read the OIM SOA integration manual, you'll find out that all these parameters here are actually required in order to play with OIM. So hence, you know, OIM provides the template to build it for you, so you don't have to keep doing this every time. You know, if you create a new one, you'd have to manually add all of these every time, and that would just be a nuisance. So the template builder gives you a pretty good starting point. And of course, you can add more variables to this as you need them. You know, when we get to the you know, another phase of this is going to be, I'm going to do a video on how to plug the OIM API into this approval, and do, you know, and then be able to look up resource administrators and then send approvals to a resource administrator. So you would have a manager approval at the start of your request, and then you might have a resource administrator approval requirement, and then of course in OIM you would have to assign an administrator to that resource, and then send that approval to anyone that's in that group. I have been having a hard time getting that to work, so that's when I decided to just break this up into smaller pieces, and we'll just do the beneficiary manager for the first go around. Okay, so